all-purpose gravy. It's a great gravy to do if you don't want to deal with the giblets and the neck and all the yucky turkey parts that you may not want to touch, or if you're doing a turkey breast, which isn't going to have as much flavor coming off of it into the drippings. Plus, this one will be made ahead and frozen for up to 2 months. Add the mirepoix. I'm going to whisk these in, kind of coat them with all the butter. Now they're going to cook for about 9 or 10 minutes until they're brown. We want them browned and release all their juices and all their flavors. Now this is the same base you would do if you were cooking the turkey and you wanted the gravy with the turkey. You would have all these vegetables on the bottom of your roasting pan. So what we're doing is we're just omitting the turkey at this point in time, and we're going to add it back after. We're just doing this for total simplicity to make Thanksgiving easy, and it's a really good gravy, and you won't be frantically running around trying to make gravy while the guests are sitting around waiting for you to eat. So you can really just leave this hands off. I just wanted to get it all coated with the butter. Let it go. Check out in a few minutes and whisk it again. Okay, this is it starting to brown. The moisture's starting to come out. They're starting to wilt. Pieces are breaking down. Probably another 4 or 5 minutes will be perfect. Okay, so the vegetables are browned. We've gotten a lot of juice, and the stuff on the bottom is awesome. That's really good flavor. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of flour, just all-purpose unbleached flour here. We're going to stir it in. Now, right now, you want to cook the flour, otherwise it has kind of that raw flavor. The difference between a light roux and a dark roux is how long you cook the flour. I want it to be kind of a really dark, rich depth, because like a turkey cooks for several hours, and I'm trying to mimic that flavor. So I'm going to cook this flour for about 3 to 5 minutes until it gets really dark. It almost kind of looks burnt, but it will not have a burnt flavor. And also the flour is a thickener too. Once we add the broth, it's what makes the gravy really thick and yummy. Okay, I've got my beef broth, 2 cups here. You need to stir it in, whisk it in. You need to whisk it in kind of slowly or consistently for 2 reasons. One, you're scraping up all those bits off the bottom. See how I'm cleaning off the bottom of the pan now with that liquid from all those yummy fond. And also you want the flour to absorb the liquid. If you oversaturate it too quickly, the flour is not going to be well mixed. So see how it's starting to get really thick like a stew? Of course we're going to make it much thinner by adding more liquid, but there we go. And I can continue to scrape up the bottom because that fond is very, very flavorful. Now I'm going to whisk in the last of the broth. And then we add our bay leaf, which has a lot of flavor to it. Simply put that in. I've got about 7 or 8 peppercorns and a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. Dried herbs are totally fine in this kind of application because they're going to cook for so long, but they add so much flavor. It's just the right amount of flavor. We're going to cook off some liquid, so it's going to concentrate the salt, the sodium content anyway, so there's no reason to worry about salt right now. Just let it be. Stir every once in a while. Okay, this is a little heavier boil than I want, so I need to turn the heat down. But first I'm just going to skim off some of this fat. This is the extra butter and things. And then turn it back down to like a 2. On my stove, a 2 is great. I'm going to whisk this back up. You want to be careful so those veggies aren't sticking to the bottom again. Clean off any bits. So everything feels smooth, looks pretty good. Let it keep going. Okay, so you pour some gravy into your strainer. I'm using a fine mesh strainer with very fine holes. If you don't have one of these, you can use a colander, line it with coffee filters are excellent. The oversized coffee filters, wonderful job. You want to kind of just whisk this around, get everything out, and then as you'll notice at the bottom, I'm getting perfectly smooth gravy coming out with no bits, none of these veggies, but all the flavor of the veggies. As you kind of get down to the bottom, you want to press really hard on that stuff because you're going to get a lot more flavor out. You don't want to waste any of that good flavor. And then I'm gonna dump the solids after I squeeze all the juice out. I'm gonna repeat it. And I'm gonna take this gravy and pop it in the fridge overnight. By putting it in the fridge overnight, any fat that I have that's remaining is gonna raise to the top. And then in the morning, or tomorrow, whenever, a couple days, when you're ready to reheat it, you can just literally scoop off the fat because it will be solidified from being cold. And of course, it congeals at the top. And then you reheat it. Use the same pot. If you want to put it in a bowl, put it back in another pot, that's fine. You're going to reheat it and whisk it really well. Taste it at that time. Season it with some salt and some pepper. If you feel like it's a little too thick, go ahead and add more broth, or if you want to cook it a little bit longer, add more broth. Just extend it as far as you need. Recipe can easily be doubled.